are at home with Jim and Joy, and you are an important part of our EWTN family. And we are so delighted that you have welcomed us into your home. You know, we would love to hear from you. So today we're taking your questions and your comments. If you're watching, it's Monday and we are here live. Please give us a jingle at 1-800-221-9460. If you are calling and you are outside North America, you can reach us at 205-271-2980. And you can always send us an email with a question or a comment to jimandjoy@ewtn.com, and check us out on Facebook. So if you're a regular viewer, you know that we always put a question out there. Well, May 1st is the feast day of St. Joseph the Worker, which is Wednesday of this week, added to the church calendar in 1955 by Pope Pius XII, because the dignity of work was being destroyed by communism. How have you seen St. Joseph as a model of the dignity of work, and who has personally inspired you and helped you to develop your work ethic?
Do give us a call on either one of those areas. St. Joseph the Worker, your meditation upon him, how you see him as the icon of the dignity of work, and then just who inspired you? Who was your model that instilled in you a work ethic? Was it your father, your mother, whoever it might be, an aunt, an uncle, someone who brought dignity to everything that they did. Today is also a worker's birthday, and that's Robert
Bush, who was our
and
producer.
I think we have a picture of his wife with him as well.
Now, Robert is our third producer.
Yeah.
First it was Debbie Cowden, then it was Mark Kaspersky, and now it's Robert. And Robert has a great work ethic. Michael.
That's okay. Not okay.
Oh, don't confuse me.
Okay.
So Robert Bush, today is his birthday on the feast of
Mike Capricci.
Mike Capricci, that's right. We had Mike Capricci. And Robert, today's his birthday on the feast of St. Catherine.
And he's a worker.
And
He's our producer,
a great
Robert
worker.
Bush.
Yes. And so you could go, and we've got him this beautiful cake
Yes. Well, I
to
want to say a word
celebrate
about
him.
Robert.
Okay, say.
He's a delight.
Yes.
He's a good-looking guy. And he's a worker.
He's a good worker.
He does a great work of producing. He does more than just this show for EWTN. And he's always looking for more to do. He's bright. He's willing to work. He's able. He's bright. And
he's got a good ethic.
And he picked a beautiful wife. They're just married a few months now, but they're a great, great couple.
Yes. And so we got this lovely cake for all of the craft, the staff, and crew to
Hopefully
enjoy.
Robert will get a piece of it.
Yeah, maybe so. Well, also I want you to know that EWTN has put out beautiful information on St. Joseph the Worker. So you can go to EWTN.com/St. Joseph the Worker for the ebook, Ora et Labora, Prayer and Work. And that is, you know, that is something that we need for a time such as this in our culture, because I think COVID kind of blew up working. Nobody wants to work. If they are working, there's a real attitude about working. It's kind of like, where is the formation and the beauty of showing up for work? It's a privilege to work and to be excellent at your work, no matter what you're doing. If you're a cleaning lady, you're a garbage man, you're the president of the United States, you're a senator, no matter what you are, who you are, that you show up and you give God your best just because you have the privilege to work and to bring your gifts into the storehouse for God.
Intellectual work, technical work, physical work, parenting work, the dignity of work, the dignity that you bring. It's not about socialism and their ideas about work, or communism, their ideas about work, or the welfare system, which is helpful and needed for some, but not for all, but it seems to be foisted upon our country, and now we're in a country that doesn't like to work. So do let us know how St. Joseph is a model for you and a person who personally helped develop the ethic within you. Call us now, or email us, Facebook us, but we want to hear from you. We'll be right back. Plenty more to come. Don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, remember that today we're taking your questions and your comments on our show. So give us a jingle at 1-800-221-9460. Outside North America, it's 205-271-2980. You can always send us an email with a question or a comment to Jim and Joy at EWTN.com, and check us out on Facebook. So May 1st, which is Wednesday, is the feast day of St. Joseph the Worker, added to the church calendar in 1955 by Pope Pius XII, because the dignity of work was being destroyed by communism. Yeah. How have you seen St. Joseph as a model of the dignity of work in your life, and who has personally inspired you and helped you to develop a work ethic? I think an illusion is like we, as human beings, we get that. Well, no, that's part of our formation in growing up in a house. Right?
But it should be inherent within us, because it's part of the original plan.
Yes.
Work is not a part of the fall. People think that. Work was from the very beginning. God created Adam first, and one of the key things he says is, go till the ground, work the earth, yield, provide. I don't know if he knew at that point somebody else was coming named Eve, but he needed to know how to provide for her. So then there's the fall, and then the work that we do becomes more difficult. You do the work in the sweat of your brow, you get thorns in you, but work is good. Work is before. The fall has made it more difficult, but work is good. Even Jesus said, my Father's working, he's working right now, I'm working, and that was on the Sabbath, because he says, it's good to do good on the Sabbath. My Father's always working to do good, all the days of the week, and I'm working now. So work is good. It goes as far as to say, among the communities that were first raised up, if there are people among you who aren't working and pulling their own load but want stuff from you, I mean, if they're not injured or hurt or elderly, we should be providing for those people. Our welfare system does that to a degree, and we sow into that, most of us. But if you have able-bodied people who don't want to work, you better warn them. And you don't have to provide for them. They need to work.
Right.
Work is a good thing. The creativity, entrepreneurship, liberty, being a part of the created order, adding to, providing for your family, work is a good thing. Sometimes it's painful and it's difficult, so you experience the cross in work, but you still do that. Versus communism and socialism, don't believe in acquiring land, freedom to choose what you want to do. They tell you what to do, how to do what you do. It's not a liberating thing. And so finally, the Pope, Pius XII, right? I think that's who it was, said, no, St. Joseph is our model of dignity and of work, caring for the one who told us about work and how to work, and who's done all the works that are so beautiful. And Joseph got to care for him and raise him up and teach him carpentry. And so it's a great thing.
Well, in my house, I had 7 brothers and sisters, and a father who worked very hard to provide for us. And he never complained. Like, he didn't wake up in the morning and go, oh, I can't believe I got to go to work today. You kids are driving me crazy. I thought, this is really what I thought all my living life, that my father loved work, because he never complained about it. He worked. It was what he did.
What kind of work did he do?
My father, he was a builder. He was in construction, so he did dormers and roofs, and he could do anything. And he did it, and he never complained about it. Now, I had a mother who was the mother of 8 of the children, and there's a picture of that hammer there. That was part of my inheritance.
That hammer is one of the many hammers from your father. Yes. It was the last hammer he used. It has tape on it. He had good supportive hammers, but this one, he was just piddling around till the day he died.
Till the day he died.
Okay? And so that was our inheritance. Right. We got that hammer, and we still use it, and the tape hasn't come off.
I use that hammer. It's a sacred hammer. My children are putting in bids for that hammer. But the deal is this. Like when you came home from school, you changed your clothes, you went out and played. Then you came back in and you were doing something for the family. Like, you didn't come home and pick up a Game Boy or play something or get on a phone. Like, no, that wasn't happening back in that day. And you had to work, you had to do something. Mom, what do you need me to do? What can I do? Because you were part of the family. You had to be helpful. full.
Yes.
No sloth, no laziness. So then when we got married, you also had a great father
Yes.
with
Yeah,
a
I'd say
great
a word
work
about
ethic.
my father. So my father was a milkman, and he would get up 3 o'clock in the morning, right across from New York City. He'd deliver milk house to house. He'd have a little tin thing, and he'd slit apartment doors, not their personal doors, but the building, go in. I would help him at 3 o'clock in the morning. We'd deliver milk. Then he goes to the biggest stores, and he'd deliver cases of milk, cream, orange juice. And so there you're seeing a can. It's a big metal can. I didn't work with him when he did these, when he went to the big stores. They were like 100 pounds each, filled with milk, metal cans. My father would carry those cans in, and he'd have on a milkman uniform. I thought being a milkman was the greatest thing you could ever do. Why? Because he did it with dignity.
Yes.
And he brought his dignity to it. And he thought, I don't know what he thought, but I thought, wow, this is great. People are waiting for their milk and orange juice and cream and all this stuff. We do that. We bring this to all the people. They're sleeping, but we deliver it, and it's there. This is wonderful, Dad. And then he do all of his paperwork and say, oh, not only does he do physical things, he knows how to write stuff and math and so on. Do your kids look at you and say, I want to be like him? I want to be like her? I mean, every day isn't just always nice and sweet, but there's something that they bring to it that you say, this looks like the greatest thing that you could do because he makes it great. You make great what you do. So there's different levels of work, all kinds, intellectual, mechanical, physical, whatever it might be. But it's what you bring to it. You're part of doing something for the culture and for society and for God's created order. You're a co-creator with God. And this is why it's St. Joseph the worker who did the greatest works with his son, who's the one that understands perfectly what work is. That's a bit of pressure, working for God, right, and taking care of him. So we need this vision.
Well, and I think even at our center where we manage a pregnancy medical center and we have staff and volunteers that come in, we there are servant leaders. So you can be a leader and not be a good leader. You need to be a leader that will do anything, and then your staff sees you doing anything and everything, and then your children, especially the children, because you have to form them up in the way that they should go.
Yeah.
It doesn't just get caught. It needs to be taught. It needs to be said, this is what we do. We are a family. We have chores that have to be done. And you know what? These chores are not male and female. They're just chores. The goal is complete the chores so then we can be in relationship. That's family life. And sometimes some things might not be fun to do, but we do them just because they have to get done. And you bring a spirit of joy to it. And thank God, all 4 of our children are great workers. And we're even seeing that manifesting coming through our grandchildren as they're growing.
And in your home, right, the boys really went into the same thing of construction and work.
Yeah.
All your sisters can swing a hammer and know what to, and it's that dad passed that on. Of course, your mother, who labored with the children, you got ladies that really understood that. So let's do this comment here, Joy.
It says, growing up, I learned my hard work ethic from my mother and my stepfather. We always had nice things. And my mom always said, if you like to have nice things, then you need to have a good work ethic and work hard. I consider myself to be a hard worker now, serving in the United States Navy. Wow. I have my parents and God to thank for my drive and passion. And this is Michelle from Facebook. Now, sometimes you could work too much and it be out of balance. Wow. You need to...
Sabbath.
Right. Yeah. You need to make sure you're going to church. You need to not work at the expense of your family and, injure those relationships because I'm working. Well, that's an excuse too. You need to keep all of our work ethic and all that we do in balance with the relationship first with God, then with our family, and how we be and do and love and serve in our attitude. If you're working and you're constantly grumpy, that's not fun. You need to go to Jesus and ask him to heal your heart, that it works right. The service, I deal with a lot of companies with service. And I have to order things for the center. And the service that's coming back is like no other. orders are wrong, people are wrong. I mean, it's just like I'm speaking on the phone trying to order something, they're sending me the wrong thing. It's just like, are you listening? Are you bringing your best game for the day? You know, because if someone's paying you to be competent, and then you need to be competent. And then it's always very nice if you're just nice about it, as opposed to service with an attitude.
Yeah, and that again is understanding that work is a spiritual matter as well as a physical matter. And that you're the image of God, and the people you're dealing with are the image of God. And I find that some of the people that do the nicest work sometimes, at least down south, I don't know what's happening up north, but they always say, that person will say, and bless you, and God bless you. And so those are the ones that were smiling and doing stuff because they're doing it in God. Do they always want to be there? Probably not. Are they having the best day? I don't know. But they're saying like, there's something more than I'm just a cog in a machine, or that I'm just collecting the money here, which is important too, because you got to provide for your family. It's like, I'm bringing dignity to what I do, and I care about you and the service that I'm giving.
Right. And that's
And some of them
important.
aren't intimidated, because I've seen people giving service, good service, even in government agencies, which has got a mix. But they're doing that, and somebody's like attacking this person. This is at the postal office.
We saw that, yeah.
You don't attack postal workers; it's not a good thing. And this, she was so mean to the postal worker. And the postal worker was, yes, and this is my superior. If you want to speak to him, and God bless you, have a good day. So it's pretty amazing. Here's another comment.
Okay, it said, Saint Joseph was my husband's confirmation saint, and my husband passed away in December. He was hardworking, a skilled craftsman, and a living father and husband. All these help me pray to Saint Joseph for comfort. And this is Kathy from Facebook. And that is true, right? I am so grateful for the influence of my father's work ethic in my life and my mother's. They made me the woman that I am today.
Yeah.
And and then you could bring that under the authority of Jesus and say, what is good from this, make good. Lord, what is bad from this, then you break off of me and you bring your better to this situation, that I would be my true authentic self, no matter what I am doing for God's glory.
Yes. A couple of scriptures. Whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord, and not for men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the inheritance as your reward. You are serving the Lord Jesus Christ. In whatever you do, in word or in deed, do it to the glory of God. Do it for the audience of one, that you want to please the Father, who's always at work. Jesus says, and I'm at work. And we're working still in an orderly way, in a beautiful way. And we do take a Sabbath rest. We do heed the Lord's word. He says, go away to a lonely place and rest a while. So thanks for your comments. We'll be right back. Plenty more to come. We're still here working. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Well, thank you for all of your comments today. And before we wrap up today's show, we're going to check in with Joan Lewis to hear about the Pope's very busy weekend in Venice. Joan, what were the big events the Holy Father had this last weekend?
Well, greetings from Rome, and though you really can't tell from here, St. Peter's Square, there are thousands of people waiting to get inside the Basilica and other parts of the Vatican. Anyway, the big news here, of course, over the weekend was the Holy Father's half-day trip to Venice, where the Lagoon City is hosting the 60th annual Biennale Art Festival. Now, he's the first Pope ever to attend, and he did have time during the day. He visited the Judaica Women's Prison, met with artists, and also with young people. Now, the Vatican Pavilion at this exhibit, it is called With My Own Eyes, and it's housed in the women's prison area. It focuses on human rights and on people who live on the margins, hoping to draw attention to them. Now, after various visits, the Holy Father had Mass in St. Mark's Square in the presence of about 10,000 people. And he then visited the basilica to pray before the tomb of St. Mark, and this was just days after his feast day. Now, the Holy Father is the third. Venice has given 3 popes to the Vatican, to the Catholic Church, and that is to say Pius X, John the 23rd, who of course was canonized 10 years ago, and Pope John Paul I. John Paul II was in Venice in 1985, and Benedict visited in 2011. Now, notwithstanding the health and mobility issues that the Pope has had for quite some time, he did seem very energized during his 5-hour stay. And he was transported around sea and land by wheelchair, a golf cart, and of course a motor launch known in Venice as the Vaporetto. Now, at the Giudecca Women's Prison, he met with the female inmates, security people, volunteers, and other staff. He spoke briefly, but he listened to them, and he also received gifts that they made for the occasion. Now, the Pope did say that he knows how difficult prison life can be for so many people, but he said it can also be a time for moral and physical rebirth. He then spoke to some of the artists of the Venice Biennale, and he was at the La Maddalena Church, always part of this huge prison complex. And he called the artists true visionaries who can see beyond the boundaries of our world. I thank you for who you are and what you do. And then I have to close with some really remarkable words to the young people. You know, popes always really seem to be just rejuvenated in the presence of young people. And Pope said, turn off the TV and open the gospel. Set aside your smartphone and encounter people. He said, you are not a digital profile. You are children of God. Whenever you feel down, have another perspective. And he said, the only time you should ever look down on others is when you are there to help them get up. Now, he said, we are beautiful and fragile, a bit like Venice. He then apologized for the length of his talk to young people. And he said, are you bored yet? And 1,500 shouted out, no, they weren't bored. And the Pope said, well then, you're just being kind and polite. And they all laughed at that. So much more to say about this brief trip, but our time's up here, so back to you.
Joan, thanks so much for another good report. Felt like we were right there with her in Rome. Join us next time for an enriching conversation with Jean Prather. She has created a wonderful online platform to help children encounter the faith in a meaningful and a lasting way. Spoke about work today, the dignity of work. Jesus said, my Father's working even to this day, and I'm working too. Let's work with them. God bless you and all of your loved ones. Bye now.